authorized camping locations on public property where the city must provide running water, restroom facilities, and safety lighting.
Okay. For which election do you intend to have this question on the ballot? Are you aware that the clerk and reporter is obligated to put an initiative on the ballot in the next scheduled citywide election after a determination of sufficiency?
To that, I answered November 2021, and yes.
Is the proponent aware that ballot title approval is within the jurisdiction of the clerk and reporter?
Yes.
Section 38-86.2B of proponent's initiative designates up to 4 locations where camping on public property would be allowed. How did proponent decide on 4 locations?
So, we wanted to ensure that the encampments have basic services such as sanitation, hygiene, running water, and safety lighting. Due to these services costing more in these camps compared to your traditional pop-up encampments, and combine that with the ability to patrol these 4 encampments, we decided on 4.
Section 38-862B does not specify maximum size of the location, nor does it specify a maximum number of campsites on the location. How does proponent intend the city regulate this section?
So we left flexibilities in the ordinance to allow the city to decide on those specs.
Similarly, does proponent intend there to be any correlation between the size of the designated location and running water, restroom facilities, and lighting that must be maintained?
So my answer to that is the same as question 5. We're going to leave the flexibilities within the ordinance to allow the city to decide on those specifications.
Section 38-86.2C states that any person may file a complaint within the city to enforce this section. To which city agency would a person file their complaint?
So, the type of person, that could be, or we're asking about, okay, so that could be, enforcement by the police or by city code officials. Ultimately that's up to the city to decide.
Notice a typo on the next question. Section 38-86.2 also states that the city must take enforcement action within 72 hours of receiving the complaint. How does proponent define enforcement action?
So, that could be, well, it's to remove unlawful camping. So, whether that's by a homeowner calling and complaining after the 72 hours has elapsed, or whether that is a unhoused person in one of these encampments that is not having the services that are meant to be provided, are not being rendered. So they could also call them a complaint.
With that concludes our second hearing. Do you have, I guess, Zach, do you want to just kind of walk through what the next steps are? Then we'll turn it over to Garrett if you have any questions for us.
Yeah, thanks, John. So, Garrett, what we'll do, we'll take this video, we'll archive it. This is for the legislative record. We will issue a letter to you saying that you've completed the review and comment hearing. If you do change the language, resubmit that to myself, the city council. We'll get down to the city attorney's office as well. And then we'll issue another letter here saying that it's non-substantive changes and your first letter still stands to take to the clerk, or we will schedule a new review and comment hearing. Pretty straightforward as far as your steps from here. It's, we hand out the letter, it's now with you in the clerk's hands. But if you do change the language, we will need to review it again, either for sufficiency for a new hearing or not. So this concludes the hearing, but do you have any
He's the chairman of the Denver
process
Republican Party.
Shut
up.
Yeah. So when do we need to have the letter in?
You submit to the city clerk's office with your packet, with your petitioners for title review.
Oh, when do we expect to? Hold on here. Just looking through my paper right here.
I might say to you, I'll try to get the letter out to you on Monday. Actually, sorry, I'm going out of the office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. I may try to do it this afternoon, but I will get you a letter by the end of next week for sure. A letter of submission.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, perfect.
Cool. Was that what you were looking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
That answers my question. Sorry, I was just trying to get all my ducks in a row here. Yep, that answers it just fine.
Well, feel free to reach out to John or myself if you have further process questions. But this checks the box for review and comment hearings for you.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Oh, and I sent that the additional updates from the